How do you handle your thoughts and emotions during the time of your work? Because it's very important for many people when they are working, but the problem is that their thoughts comes into the place and they go with overthinking, or they will go with negative thinking, or they will go with self-sabotaging, right? Or for people, some of them when they are in work, they go through their emotional clouds, right? Like anxiety, stress, depression, frustration, and so many things, sadness, boredom, all these things, and they don't know how do they manage their thoughts and emotion during the work time. And this is very, very important so that you actually understand how do you handle them. So I'm going to share the 4 important ideas in this video. How do you actually solve that? Number 1 is very important. You need to understand that as a human being, as a creatures, whatever that gets dissipated within us actually starts stinking. Whether if you see anything outside also, if water stays in the same place, it stinks. If you keep a fruit somewhere in the same place, it will stink. Same thing is true with your thoughts and emotion, right? When it comes to your thoughts, when you are thinking, and when you try to compress that, the problem is that it will start stinking over a period of time. It might be okay at that time, that day, you will be like, okay, I'm thinking, no, I have too much of work, you start working, but guess what? That starts stinking within you and you cannot tolerate, and suddenly one day you will burst out, right? Same thing is true with the emotions. When you are going through that anger, frustration, depression, because of so many incidents that are happening in your life, if you don't find a moment to discharge, guess what? That gets charged, and suddenly when the work is done, when you come back home, when you meet your family, you will discharge on them. That's very bad. And that's where it's very important that you know how do you actually discharge those thoughts and emotions, right? The very important thing that what you can actually do is write, okay? Take a piece of paper and start writing down whatever is that thinking is, whatever is that negative thinking is, or whatever that emotion that what you're feeling. Try to crystallize that and start releasing it. And that's very, very important. So because when you actually do that, what you are trying to do is you are trying to crystallize that, and now it is actually a release mode, right? It is not there here or here. It's not there in your head or in your heart. It's there on paper. So it's released. That is one important way that you can actually do, is that don't get that clutter in your mind. Rather than that, just write it down. The second thing that what you can do as an individual is very, very important, okay? When you are going through this, it's always important to take breaks in between. Don't go full on. Sometimes what will happen, you will get, because there are certain connected emotions, you get hungry, and then you get overwhelmed, you get stressed. It has its own series of things. So that is where it is very important. The second important thing that what you actually do is you take a break, right? So this is very, very important, right? But not so often that the whole work itself is a break. You take a 10 minutes break, or you take a 5 minutes break, or even a 3 minutes break. During that break, what you can do is deep breathing, right? Because you need to understand our body, the reason why we think certain way is because it is connected to our breath, right? And the moment you actually change your breath, you change your thinking. So sometimes you cannot change your feelings and thoughts because you are stuck there. It's very important that at that time, you take a deep breath within, breathe out. And if you know some type of meditations or some form of meditation, you can do that during that particular time of break. So that what will happen, you will be back, you have done that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times of that counting of deep breathing, and you come back, you are in work, you are a little free. So one is that you write down, second is you take a break. Don't go into social media with a break. Don't go in doing something else, right? Or you can even drink a water in that break. Do something productive for you, but just relax and come back, right? So this is very, very important. And the third thing that what you actually can do when you are actually on this break is this, called as refuel. What is it called as? Refuel. Because this is very, very important. You have to refuel your body, mind, emotion and energy. When you are actually working, when you are going through these thoughts and emotion, the problem is that, let me give you an instance. So let's consider a roller, okay? And think about it, this is actually a roller where, let's consider a dog is there here, and one more roller and one more dog is there here. And think about it, now this dog is there and it doesn't want to actually start running, but you start pushing from the top. Guess what? It gets exhausted, right? But let's consider this dog is there and you're not pushing, and dog wants to do this running. Then it is energized, right? So whatever that you want to do, you need to get yourself energized, refuel yourself and do it. But if you do it with a force, you immediately get exhausted. This is very, very important principles to understand, because the law of exertion when it comes to performance says this. So our work performance, when we are starting, our energies will be like this, like this, like this, like this, and we have hit a peak performance, right? Our performance is peak right now, and now guess what? This is the peak, and from there onwards we will go with overexertions, right? This is over a period of time, and this is the performance. So this is the time for you to refuel, so that you actually can go to the next level, so that your performance doesn't drop. So this is very, very important. So don't get yourself into exhausted mode, get yourself into energized mode and start doing more of that. So that is very important. But sometimes people take this as a what? Excuse. You should not take this as an excuse here. Oh, it's time for me to refuel, and then you take a break. Sometimes what will happen? That break become 1 hour break, 2 hour break, 3 hour break, and you don't even come back. But there is another important principle that if you do, you will do phenomenally awesome. And that is something what is called as practice. When it comes to practice, this is a very important thing, because when you're going through a lot of thoughts and emotions at that time, so let's consider your talent is this, okay? Let's consider this is your talent, okay? And let's consider somebody is actually lesser talented than you, who is actually there. But guess what? So if he is A and you are B, but at that time, that last moment, you feel like not doing, but still you do that, because in the gym, what actually builds that bigger muscle is not just the talent, how nicely you will lift it, but when you cannot do it and you do it, right? This extra little practice, okay, this is practice, and this is talent. But you also have the talent as a B, he also has a talent, but that little extra practice that you do makes all the difference. When your thoughts are saying so many things, when your emotions are not okay, you have taken the break, you have written, you have refueled everything, but still you are facing the same thing. What you require at that time is practice. Practice to do more things, right? Like for example, let me tell you, like coming and adding value like this, right, takes a lot, right? But still it's practice. Do it, keep doing it, make it happen. It's not just the talent. Sometimes you might be lesser talented than others, but if you practice it, you will win over time. And that's the graph here which I'm actually sharing. Practice, 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 and that's exactly how you actually make it happen. Hope you understood how do you handle your thoughts and emotions when you're working, right? So if you have loved this video, please do subscribe to the channel and also give that like button, and I would love to see you in the next video.